The Vitamix blender is a high quality piece of equipment that is excellent for making smoothies, for purees, also for hot soups, and a number of other things. Let's find out together to see if the Vitamix can take wheat and turn it into a fine flour that's fine enough to be used for your freshly milled wheat baked products. Okay, so I have with me today this really nice Vitamix blender. This is actually the professional series. It has 120 volts. I went online and looked, and the current Vitamixes that are being sold also has the 120 volt motor in it. And that way, if you're comparing apples to apples, if you're shopping from this video, you know what I'm using. Also, full disclosure, this is a model that was manufactured in 2015. So it is a little bit older piece of equipment. However, if I were to rate this, I would rate it as used like new, because it really does not have very much use that it's been through. So I'm telling you that so that you understand that even though it is older date wise, it really is still very much like new. It's not been used a lot, so it's not worn out. So depending on the outcome of the flour, I don't want you to say, oh, the reason why you had this result is because you're using an old machine. I don't think that's going to be a factor in the final product of what we do. I've never used a Vitamix to mill wheat, but I've seen a lot of people say that they do it, and so I want to know, does it actually work? Now, this is, like I said, the professional series, and I'm going to show you a little bit about this. It has this nice little cap. It will snap on there so the lid won't come off. I probably won't actually snap it completely. I'm going to show you the blades so you can see how nice these look. They're uneven, so it can get in there and mix, blend better. It has the little chopped blade on the end. Okay. You have a high speed you have a high speed, a variable speed, off and on switch, and then you have the dial that you can turn to turn it lower and then faster. I have never actually used this Vitamix, so this is an experiment that we are doing together. And before we actually use the mixer, I'm going to show you how it works on its own. If you want to use the variable speed, it goes from speeds 1 to 10. You need to put the little switch on variable. I'm going to show you how that does. Turn it on. I'm going to go from 1 to 10. Then if you want to just run it on high and not worry about the variable speed, you're just going to flip it to high, and then you'll turn it on and it's going to be at high the entire time that the machine is on. I honestly have no idea how I should go about milling the wheat, so we're just going to experiment. Now, what I have in this cup is 2 cups of red wheat. I'm going to show this to you so you can see it nice and up close. This is hard red, and this is a 2-cup measuring cup. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is just mill a half a cup at the time. Because I'm honestly not sure how it's going to respond. I don't want to overwhelm it and put too much in there. In fact, this is a half-cup measuring cup. You can see I don't even have it completely filled to the top. So let's see how it's going to do. All right, I think I'm going to leave it on high. Let's just see what happens. that looked cool. All right, let's see how it looks. Ooh. I want you to be able to see the texture of this. All right, so here is the flour. Can you see that? I don't know if it's focusing correctly. Let me stand up. Okay. I didn't want to say anything until I touched it. Just by looking at it, this is extremely gritty. But I didn't run it very long. So let's try it again. Maybe I didn't give it enough time. All right, so I'm gonna do maybe 1/4 of a cup. We'll see. See how this looks. I forgot to count. It really is cool though to watch the flour and how that how it goes in, how the machine is moving it around. Let's see how this looks. I do believe it is a little bit finer than before. Okay, that is definitely much finer than the last one. So there is hope. You can see a difference. All right, let's do a little bit more. Now one thing, to me, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work for milling. Like me, I normally mill about, I always do at least a double batch if I'm making bread of the Bread Baker's Basic Dough recipe. I would need about 8 cups of flour if I did that. That's just the double. If I do the quadruple batch, which is usually what I do, the triple or the quadruple, depending on what mood I'm in, I guess, that day. I'll either need 12 to 16 cups of flour. Now, thinking about using this machine and doing this process to mill that much flour, yeah. All right, so that was not quite a 1/2 cup, maybe a 1/4 cup. All right, so I'm gonna count. Let's do this for 30 seconds. Come on in. And that was probably more about 33 seconds or so. And look at that. I wonder how hot it is. Sorry, you can hear my children. Okay, so here we are, 30 seconds. That is a good flour. I'm gonna give the machine that. That is a nice flour. It's fine. It's not as smooth as what my mock mill would do. Not comparing, the purpose of this video is not to compare this to a mock mill, but just mainly to see if this is going to give you the type of flour that you need to mill bread with. Because here's the thing, if you do not have a good mill, if you're not getting a fine flour, you are going to struggle to get a nice quality loaf of bread or anything it is, just because you're going to have a lot of grit and it's just not going to respond well when you're baking with it. Okay, so I've already cleaned up from where I was filming earlier, and I decided that I needed to go back to the Vitamix and try milling at least 1 cup of wheat, because I really did not give it a fair shot at milling more than just a little bit of grain at the time, because people who are going to consider the Vitamix as a meal are probably going to need to mill more than just a little bit at the time. So I've got a cup scooped out. Let me show it to you. This is almost 1 cup. You can see 1 cup. And I'm going to put that in here. All right, I haven't even cleaned it up from where I used it earlier. Put that on there. And we're just going to see what it does with almost an entire cup of flour. Got it on high. All right, let's go. Okay, that was a full 30 seconds. Let's see how it looks. That machine, I gotta admit, that's impressive, the way that it blends. I'm gonna get a bowl. Okay, so this is the almost 1 cup of flour that was beat in the blender, or mixed in the blender, blended for 30 seconds. I gotta admit, the Vitamix does a good job. Still plenty of grit there, but overall it's a nice flour. So the 1 cup, yes. So again, what I was saying, my initial opinion still stands. If you have the Vitamix and you're interested in milling grains, go ahead and get started with your Vitamix. When you have the opportunity to get a wheat mill, get a wheat mill, because I think you will definitely see a difference between the Vitamix and the mill. But certainly pulse or run the Vitamix for as long as you can to get that wheat as fine as you can get it. But overall, I was impressed with how well it did. I gotta admit, it did a good job. As good a job as the mill, no. But definitely for a blender, I think it did a really great job.